matches down. 6 matches to go in the current wager that me and Kevin Hawk have. Who's going to get chopped by some professional wrestlers? Let's find out what happened at NXT Takeover Toronto.
Round 1. Fight.
There's not going to be much difference in this since we agreed on every single match.
All the surprise! If you watch the prediction show, we're tied.
Yeah, we are tied regardless of what happened at NXT Takeover.
Though it's a surprising surprise of a tie because we were pretty convinced that we were going to take all 5 of these.
We were pretty confident, and
we're 3-2.
Yeah, we came out on the better side of the half of what could be considered half of 5. But yeah, some different things happened as we thought we knew what was happening, and they decided to change shit.
Yeah, like I told them what to do. They didn't listen.
Well,
so right off the bat, we had a great match between Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger.
Not even just a great match, but we
had
entrance. The great entrance from Bobby Roode.
Great crowd.
The fucking hype for Ty Dillinger. It was
on like a scale of 1 to 10. It was at least a perfect
10
or 42.
Yeah, I mean, we knew going into this that this was going to be one of the most hyped matches.
And by all means, the crowd didn't get this hot for any of the other matches of the night.
I think maybe the tag titles at like the fever pitch moment was the only thing that came close to the intensity that was in this match. The crowd itself helped. The story that these guys had told leading up to this match, and just their willingness to go out there and just go full speed, like no slowing down, just kicking the shit out of each other.
More like chopping the shit out of each other.
It was definitely the best choice for opening match, just because there wasn't anything for either of them to gain. But there was such a good story, and it's 2 amazing workers just going out there and just riling up this crowd.
Well, I think there would have been a big thing for Ty Dillinger to gain. He hasn't had a takeover moment.
That's true.
You know, not to like equate it to like a WrestleMania moment, but out of a lot of the stalwart guys in NXT, he's one of the guys that's never won at a takeover.
You know, and that was kind of why I went for him. I expected.
He was always the guy that got brought in to like job to the new guy.
Because he's so fucking good.
Yeah.
And he proved it once again here against Bobby Roode. And I thought that was going to be what really, I thought that was going to be what changed, the game here, was that he was going to be the one to finally have that moment, break out, and we were going to get that new star that was going to be able to be on any spot of the show.
Yeah.
And he had some great moments, but when Big E strikes...
Yeah. Bobby Roode Big E'd him into the post hard.
We had that shoulder to the post moment, which was quickly followed up by the glorious DDT, and Bobby Roode picks up a win in Toronto, though the crowd didn't let Ty Dillinger leave without a standing ovation, and showing the utmost appreciation that they could. I mean... Sure, he didn't get a win, but I think just the fact that he got that moment specifically, where the crowd gave him that appreciation in the opening match, I think that has to turn some heads in NXT.
It will, but it's what I'm starting to realize. I want to maybe give it a name, like getting Cedric'd.
Yeah, okay.
Something of that
nature.
Yeah. Where it's like, okay, awesome. And I bet it does turn heads, and I bet people will go, oh, look, there's Ty Dillinger. Here's a guy who could be now, like, the top of the mid-card. But that's as far as he's going to get at this point.
Yeah.
I think that was his one shot to be elevated up to the main event level.
Well, if it didn't succeed here, then it wasn't going to at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Tyler Breeze situation.
Yeah.
But because where it is like, oh yeah, he's probably gonna get a push. You know, if NXT had a mid-level belt, he'd probably get a run at that mid-level belt.
Yeah.
They don't have one though, so that's not gonna happen. But it's that thing. It's like this getting Cedric, as I'm gonna coin it. Yes, he's gonna get there. He's gonna get known. He's gonna get appreciated. But again, it's also like Cedric Alexander, same way. Huge reaction after his match, gets signed by WWE. Hasn't done much.
True, and I blame that on Raw, just because the cruiserweights haven't been a big focal point of their show. They've been on there, but I think Cedric Alexander has actually had more opportunities and more of a story on NXT with his whole run against Andrade. Good moment for Ty, a great win for Bobby Roode, and just a great way to start off this show.
Yeah.
And then we followed that up with
opener.
We followed that up with the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, TM61 taking on the Authors of Pain. And to make sure that there weren't any shenanigans, we're locking Paul Ellering in a shark cage and hanging him above the ring. We had this fucking weird, awkward crane structure thing at ringside that was hoisting the cage up above the ring.
And then they climbed on it.
Yeah, fucking Shane Thorne, man.
And then he flipped off of it onto the Authors of Pain.
This
was my favorite reaction of yours in the fucking watching it.
He had already watched it and then watched it again with me, so he's watching me react to all of this stuff.
Yeah, and so he's just like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely not afraid of heights. He's like, fuck yeah, crossbody, and then he you literally actually said, like, yeah, he's gonna cross-body him off there.
Yeah, and then he does a fucking swanton, and I went, what the fuck?
You're like, oh, fuck me, right?
Well, see, and initially I was like, what the fuck is Razor doing? Because he puts Thorne on his shoulders and climbs up the fucking thing.
Like he's gonna do, like, some god-awful 9-foot electric chair drop.
That's what I thought he was gonna do. Like were Akam and Nick Miller gonna catch the two of them? Like, what the fuck was gonna happen there? But then Razor gets kicked off, and then Shane Thorne does that, and then right after that, he got fucking swung upside down, almost pile-driven on the apron, and it was just, like, the fact that they had that so hyped match that they had to follow, it's a good thing they had a little bit of something different that they could bring, that, you know, they could kind of change the way things were looking on the show. So I definitely think that worked in their favor, because they probably would have had a very steady sound through the rest of their match had they not had that spot.
Yeah.
And so from there, then it's like, okay, now TM61 have just, like, completely destroyed themselves. It's just a matter of time now for the Authors of Pain to tear them apart and finish this match.
Yeah, and it ends up being a pretty, like, huge 2-on-1 beatdown on Thorne.
Yeah,
for, like,
Thorne gets destroyed for a while.
But he hot tags into fucking Miller, and he starts throwing the Authors of Pain around.
Yeah.
Like they're not huge guys.
Yeah, like they're not the biggest tag team on the roster. Nick Miller didn't give a fuck. He's doing back suplexes. He's doing fucking
down under suplexes.
Yeah, he's doing anytime.
Didgeridoo-plexes.
Didgeridoo-plex City.
Kangaroo-plexes.
Really?
Yeah.
You're an ass.
Why? Because they're from Australia and I'm referencing things that are from Australia?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. Nick Miller fucking runs through both of them, and then
they hit fucking Thunder Valley.
I even said it before the match. I'm like, you know what? I don't tell me what's gonna happen, but man, I will lose my shit if they even try to hit Thunder Valley on one of the members of Authors of Pain, and they fucking did it.
But I think by the time that it happened, so much other stuff had happened that you didn't even look phased by them doing Thunder Valley.
And it wasn't. We were talking about. I was like, we didn't realize how big TM61 was until, you know, like, it's been a while since they faced the Authors of Pain the first time. So, you know, they've gone against other guys and you don't really realize how big they are. But they are, like, Shane Thorne is at least taller than Akam.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Razor is not that much taller than Akam is. And so I was like, okay, I guess I didn't realize just how evenly matched this match was. But it was still really impressive to see them get one of those guys up for a move like that. And then the fact that it didn't end the match, I was like, oh, well, shit. Like, Razor was there, like, just to, finish it. And then we had regardless of the fact that he was 15 feet above the ring, Paul Ellering
shenanigans
still getting involved, dropping a chain down to Razor. Who then
he decides rather than successfully hit somebody with it, he's gonna hurl it into the third row.
He's gonna try and hit that dude in the third row. He wrapped around his fist and tried to go for the shot on Thorne. Thorne ends up like stopping it, and like the fucking chain shoots off of Razor's hand out into the crowd. And then it's
somebody took home a cool keepsake from that.
Hell yeah! And unless security's like, yeah, we're gonna need that back.
Yeah.
Hey, it hit me in the fucking face. I'm taking it home.
Yeah, they're gonna autograph it for me too.
Can you autograph a chain?
Probably. I don't know. Ask Paul Ellering.
I feel like that'd be really difficult. But yeah, Akam ends up getting back in the ring. Miller tries and ends up eating a boot. And then Shane Thorne ends up getting hit with the last chapter. And your winners of the second annual Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic are the Authors of Pain. Then we have the whole in-ring picture taking with Triple H and Goldust and William Regal, the trophy itself. That's one.
Baron Corbin to go to NXT and then to feud over who has the best trophy.
I would give it to the Authors of Pain because as cool as the Andre trophy is, the Dusty trophy's way cooler.
It's like, ours is a trophy. Mine's a trophy too. Mine's a trophy of a giant dude. My trophy's got boots. Motherfucker. Boots.
All right. Man, this next match though. Where do we even start with this?
Well, the bell rang.
Oh, that's a good place to start.
They locked up.
The Revival, man.
There's a reason why they're my boys.
They know how to run a fucking match.
They can work with anybody.
They can work with fucking anybody. And it was just a fucking bonus that their opponents were Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
Who could also work with just about anybody.
It was I am always amazed at these tag team title matches. The tag team division on NXT is fucking amazing.
Yeah, and specifically 2 out of 3 falls ones. Yeah. This is like the second or third time they've done a 2 out of 3 falls tag title match.
I think this is only the second time. The only other time we did was Revival and American Alpha.
Yeah, and I mentioned like this is like in the wheelhouse. If you followed along on the Facebook where I was doing live responses, which I know none of you were following along because I did it spur of the moment and like all the comments got like 1 fucking view. Because we can see.
We had 1 like.
Yeah, 2 likes. Both on the main event match.
Sawtooth.
Alicia, I think your name
Alicia
is.
Sawtooth, that's a cool fucking name.
Yeah. But I mentioned because I was like, okay, the Revival have already proven that they know this 2 out of 3 falls thing pretty well.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, and then like Johnny Gargano was part of the tag team champions over in Chikara. And all the tag team title defenses in Chikara are 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah.
And then I thought of Tommaso Ciampa, and I thought I'm pretty sure he was in the Greatest Rivals Round Robin, potentially with Biff Busick and Eddie Edwards and I think Chris Dickinson.
He might have been.
Or no, Timothy Thatcher. Not Chris Dickinson, what am I thinking? Which is like 3 matches in one night. Yeah. Because they all fought each other. So maybe he wasn't in that one, but he's been in other tournaments and round robins. Yeah. So it's like, I know all of these guys can do this subsequent fall after fall after fall.
Well, and they're all just such solid workhorses too. Yeah. Like, you can't get these guys to slow down. Like,
nay, motherfucker.
So, fall number 1, all of these falls were just fantastically placed. And, like...
My favorite one was one that didn't even happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I wanna have
So yeah, first fall ends up going to the
Called
Revival
Fall.
as Johnny Gargano goes for a slingshot spear on Dawson and ends up getting caught and lifted up into the Shatter Machine. Revival getting a very emphatic first fall in this match, and then it's just it's one of those things. It's like, you know, Gargano is messed up,
Yeah.
but keeps coming back, and then like TM61, Ciampa gets that hot tag and just goes to fucking town with elbows and knees. Dash was getting a face full of Ciampa knees in this match. He was getting all of the Ciampa knees. It was...
Sounds like a weird race of people.
Yeah.
But what are you, Champanese?
Oh, man. And then at this point, there was a lot of both teams being in at the same time.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of like one person standing on the outside. It was everyone was just doing whatever they wanted, and the ref was just like, "Do it. I don't care." He's just kind of letting it go at this point.
Yeah, and then friggin' Gargampa and get the second fall.
Yeah.
They tie things up. And then my favorite fall of the match, which is the near fall,
Yeah.
is you have Dash and Dawson gain control of Gargano. Because Gargano goes for his little rolly kick on the ground.
Yeah.
Dash is distracting the referee after he's already tossed the belt in the ring to Dawson.
This was so fucking brilliant.
And when he goes for that kick on Dawson, he holds the belt up, and Gargano just kicks directly onto the belt.
Yeah.
So they got good control over Gargano, because now his leg seems obliterated.
Well, and like that was followed up by the inverted figure four that Johnny was actually able to escape from.
Yeah.
By getting the ropes.
Yeah, it's what they beat them with at the last takeover.
Yeah. And so you had that moment like, okay, this is where they lost it last time, but Johnny was able to escape it.
But so they get Gargano set up in the spot, and then they start signaling like they're going to do the running knee super kick combo.
Yeah.
Onto Gargano. And for some reason that involved Dawson lowering his head really low so Gargano could move out of the way and Dash could overkick.
I don't know.
Get Dawson in the head.
Dash kicked really high.
Well, yeah, it was a weird thing that shouldn't have never happened if they were trying this move combo. Like Dash,
they've never done it before. They don't know. They can't judge it.
Dash kicked way over where Gargano's head should have been, and for some reason Dawson lowered his head down like he's supposed to dunk something.
So Dawson got a face full of Dash's foot.
Yeah, and then fucking Dash spins around and gets into the Shatter Machine from Ciampa and Gargano.
And then
you were covering your face with your
I was
shirt.
so sure. I was ready to flip out of the fact that they won using the other person, their opponent's finisher, but Dawson breaks it up at the most opportune moment. I was like, holy shit, I am losing it at this point.
So's the crowd.
Like, it is a fantastic ping pong, like, you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know when this is going to finish. It is just, it's chaos. It is unbelievable chaos, and it is so much fun to watch this unfold.
Yeah, then we have that moment of, like, dread and oh-no-ness, because...
Oh-no-ness. Yeah. That's my new favorite wrestling
Because Dawson rolls up Johnny Gargano and has a handful of tights, and you know this is coming. You know this is the end. 1, 2, and then the referee gets this like, holy shit, you're not the legal man.
And this was actually, just before this, Dawson rolled in and covered his head.
Yeah.
So Johnny didn't even realize who he was grabbing.
Yeah.
And so then Dawson, rolls him up and then has his head down, but then the referee notices the bald head and goes, you're not Dash. And Dawson's like, what are you talking about? They start freaking out.
And then Ciampa knocks him out of the ring. They go flying. Freaking Dash comes in from behind.
Oh
and
my
gives
God.
the chop block from hell to Johnny Gargano's good leg.
Yeah, so now Johnny has... Neither of his legs are working currently.
But he doesn't need them because they reverse a whole boatload of pin attempts.
That was so good.
And then it ends with Johnny Gargano locking in the Gargano escape.
And Dawson slides in to try and break it up, but immediately Ciampa cuts him off, drops him down, rolls over with the bridging armbar, and we get that desperation where the Revival are holding hands. They're like,
Hey,
we're not going to tap out.
Men can hold hands.
No, it's fine, and I understood it. It's like, we're not going to tap out. We're not going to tap out. And then Dash lets go and starts...
Yeah, I love, like, this whole thing that, like, Dash kept letting go to, like, try and grab Gargano's hand, and Dawson kept, like, reaching back and grabbing it again, like...
And Dawson, like, Dawson's just yelling at him, don't you tap out. Don't tap out, man. Don't... And then...
They let go,
Okay, and then they both tap
out.
out at the same time, and in a sweet, sweet moment of victory, DIY are the new NXT Tag Team Champions.
Dream. Inspire.
Yay. That is
DIY
a Facebook quote from Johnny Gargano.
It's going to be the new DIY shirt.
It was, match of the fucking night, man.
Yeah.
That was just so good.
Survivor Series. Hope your shit's good.
Yeah. No, you have to live up to that match specifically, Survivor Series.
I didn't call it SummerSlam.
Yeah. All right. So now, So we're 2-1 at this point so far.
Yeah.
So we're doing okay.
We both went DIY. We both went with
Authors of Pain.
Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
We both went with
Ty.
Ty Dillinger. Come on,
so,
Ty.
We move into our women's championship match with the return of Mickie James, looking fantastic.
Damn.
What I really enjoyed about this match specifically is that it's two women who have never faced each other on a pretty big stage at this point, especially with the hype that is NXT. It's one of those things where it's like the right combination of things where Mickie hasn't been in WWE for 6 years?
6 years.
And Asuka is just on top of the world.
Asuka is undefeated for over a year now.
Yeah. And she hasn't really found anyone that rivals her. And now she's going against someone she's never faced before.
Yeah.
Someone that she doesn't spend days in the performance center being able to watch.
Yeah, and it's a really cool, way, and it's a good thing that they can use to keep feeding into this ego that Asuka is developing.
Right.
Is that, okay, at this point, she's right. She's, in a sense, she's ran all the competition out of NXT.
Yeah, because all of her former opponents are now on the main roster.
Yeah. Nia Jax, Bayley, and Dana Brooke.
The only person she's faced that isn't on the main roster is Liv Morgan.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's beaten Billie Kay, Deonna Purrazzo, and stuff like that, but, she's run off all the competition. None of the other women are ready to fight her, so it's saying, Regal has to go out of his way to find outside talent to bring in to even challenge her.
Yeah.
Let alone try and beat her. Yeah. It's very much the way that it's sort of mirroring the Braun Strowman storyline that they were doing on Raw.
Right.
Where it was Strowman would murder someone and then be like, okay, give me an actual challenge.
Yeah.
Except they haven't stooped to the point where they're not throwing 2 or 3 women at Asuka at once.
Oh God. Can you imagine if they ever get to that point where it's like Asuka's just destroying 5 women at one time?
All the female security guards. I don't think I've ever seen a female security guard at a WWE show. I've seen real ones, in the audience.
But, in the ring, we've never seen one.
I don't think so.
Right off the bat, their first lockup, there's 2 pin attempts in the lockup. Yeah. Which is very rare to see even one pinfall in a lockup. And it was constantly a feeling out process of really understanding where the other person was. We had both of them. The Asuka mentality here. We have Mickie ends up knocking Asuka out of the ring.
Yeah, well, rewinding a little bit, is after the lockup bit, Mickie extends her hand out.
Yes.
Asuka doesn't take it. They do another exchange, and Asuka puts her hand out, and Mickie shakes her hand.
And then immediately there's the pull in and the stare down.
And Mickey James makes a kissy face.
Yeah. Which gets a ooh from the crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in that same vein where you have the attempt and then the I don't really give a shit kind of moment, we have Asuka gets knocked out of the ring, and Mickey holds the ropes, and Asuka goes under the rope.
Yeah.
And then we reverse it where Mickey gets knocked out of the ring. Asuka's like, come on in, I'm holding the rope for you. And Mickey tries to go under the ropes.
She tries to pull in Asuka.
And Asuka grabs her and makes her regret that moment.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was...
She grabs her, which somehow makes Mickey, like, suspended in time.
Yeah, she's like...
Because she freezes on the apron for Asuka to do another hip attack.
Yeah, and it was another onslaught from Asuka that was met with a little bit more ferocity from Mickey.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to talk about if I were to happen to give, like, one specific move bump of the night. Friggin' the ankle trap German suplex on the floor.
Yeah, go Mickey. Like, that is...
Hey Mickey, you're so fine.
Well, we knew that. Yeah, like...
You're so fine, I didn't call it SummerSlam.
That move sucks anyway.
Yeah.
But to have it done to you on the floor, I don't even
Double suck.
I don't even want to fathom what that felt like. That's a whole new world.
I'm fathoming.
That's a whole new world of suck. And
I'm fathoming so hard.
Stop it. You're making it weird.
I think fathoming is my new favorite word. I'm gonna say that every time instead of thinking about something. Yeah. I've been fathoming about that.
I've created a monster here. So
absolutely.
The story of this is, Mickey being able to come back from a lot of the stuff that Asuka's doing.
Yeah, and then at the end, she, like, dominates.
Yeah.
Like, she's still...
She goes on that Mickey James run where she hits all of her signature moves.
Yeah, and rather than coming back from all of Asuka's shit, she's countering all of Asuka's stuff. Everything Asuka's doing, she's got a counter for it. She's going to throw her in the rope, she reverses it. Asuka goes off for, like, a crossbody thing, she ducks it. She even hits a freaking seated senton off the top rope. It's crazy how, like, we haven't seen anybody this close to beating Asuka yet.
Yeah, and another thing, going back a little bit, was Mickey's the first person to have Asuka actually run away. Actually, back away from the match.
She snap-married Asuka in the middle of the ring and then gave a really quick basement dropkick. And Asuka rolled out of the ring and had to regroup.
Yeah, no one's ever made Asuka make her go, oh, I need to rethink what I'm doing here.
Yeah, even fighting Nia Jax, she stayed in Nia Jax's face the whole time. And
so, at this point, you got to expect Asuka is kind of freaking out with the fact that Mickey's hitting all of this offense, but it was the right moment that Asuka's able to lock in that sleeper hold for a second and then into the chicken wing. But there's still Mickey trying to fight out of that submission.
Yeah, she does like 2 forward somersaults.
Yeah.
Which essentially are dumping Asuka on her head.
And she ends up doing the Bret Hart
Roddy
Piper pin, and Asuka's still able to kind of roll her out of that, and then actually gets her down to a point where she can't roll away from it, and Mickey is unable to get away, forced to tap out, and Asuka retains the women's championship.
Yeah, and then the biggest part of the story comes after the match, because Asuka's celebrating, Mickey finally gets up, got her wits about her again, and she goes up and she tries again to extend the hand to Asuka, which is you feel okay, at this point during the match, they had their little exchange where Mickey tried, and Asuka said no, but then Asuka tried, Mickey shook her hand, so you're okay, well now she's had to have earned Asuka's respect.
Yeah.
And now Asuka's going to shake her hand, and instead Asuka just kind of puts the belt in her face. Look what you didn't win.
Yeah. Holds the belt up, gets that vindictive smile on her face, and just walks away happy as can be, and Mickey's just oh, okay, I see how it is.
Bit of a bitch.
Yeah. So we're now 3-1. We've got our main event now, the NXT Championship. Shinsuke Nakamura giving Samoa Joe his rematch, and Samoa Joe he's ready to fight.
He's primed.
Immediate, like he's chomping at the bit. We have
blankets made of bacon.
We have Nakamura coming out with his army of violin players, which is a pretty simple but fun little entrance for him.
It's like a string deck tet.
And then as soon as the bell rings,
they start kicking each other.
It is
each other
on like fucking Donkey Kong,
punching each other, and that's not even the joke of making fun of Samoa Joe for being big.
No, it's like they are immediately throwing strikes and kicks, and they are just trying to hurt each other from the get-go.
Yeah, at one point Samoa Joe gets booted over the barricade.
Yeah.
So we have a rare instance of an NXT match escaping the arena.
Yeah, just kind of fighting out in the crowd area there.
Which is to say, they're kind of expected out of these two because they've taken their fights outside of the ring a lot.
Yeah.
They're non-match fights.
And we got Joe trying to use the stairs early on, where he kind of like shifts them over, and he's trying to use them the way he did to take Shinsuke out a couple months ago. Shinsuke is able to kind of stray away from that and get the match back in the ring, and it's very much like the women's championship. Obviously there's a lot more familiarity between these two.
Yeah,
but it is strike for strike. It is just trying to overcome the other person's onslaught against you.
Yeah, it was very much like Joe. For a while, was working over the leg of Nakamura. The knee.
For a bit, yeah.
He hit that like rolling leg block.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, where he just took both of Shinsuke's legs out right from under him.
Yeah, but basically what it was like Joe would like absorb one or two shots from Shinsuke, so he could throw some sort of big, devastating like move, like an enziguri or a suplex. Or one of his combos.
Yeah, well, and the injury was very prominent with Shinsuke. That's the great thing about this story, is that Joe was fully healed and didn't let anyone know until after he took out Shinsuke.
Yeah.
So Joe has been ready to go for months now, and Shinsuke was on the shelf for a few weeks with majorly the neck injury.
Yeah.
And so you see a lot of the strikes and a lot of the slams are directed at the top of the shoulders and the neck region. Even, the Chimera 3 suplexes.
Yeah, the Chimera Plex, which, the three-headed monster.
Yeah.
Where he hits the German suplex and the Dragon suplex and the Straight Jacket suplex.
Yeah.
All three of those are just dumping Shinsuke on his neck.
Yeah. And it's a nasty... I was going to pretend like it didn't happen, but it's on the internet. It's at this point, like, Joe knows what he needs to go for, and he's not letting up.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what it was that finally kind of kicked Shinsuke into gear.
I just think it was adrenaline at this point.
He's
absorbed everything that Joe could throw at him. He got out of the Coquita clutch.
Yeah.
He rolls Joe. He gives him a Kinshasa. Joe kicks out. He freaking gives him another one to the back of the head.
Yeah. And
that kind of just like drunken slumps Joe out of the ring.
Yeah, Joe literally just like crumbles and is just like in almost fetal position on the outside.
Yeah, he's like on his hands and knees, like somebody who literally drunkenly passed out.
Yeah.
And is like...
And so
maybe he fell asleep looking for his contact that fell out.
and Shinsuke kind of sees this. He goes, "Okay, this is what I need to do. One more big move on the outside, slump him back in the ring, done deal."
Easier said than done, by the way.
Yeah, which
Joe's a big boy to try and be put in the ring.
Yeah, so Shinsuke tries to go for the Kinshasa on the outside.
Yeah, and then we have that moment though. Like because when Shinsuke hits that Kinshasa in the back of Joe's head, he's selling the knee injury again.
Yeah.
This is like the first time in about 2 minutes he resells the knee.
Yeah, the adrenaline's kind of died down a little bit, so then he's kind of starting to feel that pain.
And then when Joe falls to the outside and stops moving, the referee goes up to check on him.
Yeah.
And so the referee's like trying to make sure Joe's got his wits about him, and basically Joe is just like, what, no, huh, where, what?
Yeah,
and then Shinsuke starts running at him, and it's kind of a diversion to keep the referee close in so he can shove the referee.
Yeah.
And punt the soccer balls of Shinsuke Nakamura. Because you gotta know that's like the size of his testicles.
Penalty
like
kick to the nuts, man.
Actual soccer balls.
And then just to add a little insult to injury.
Yeah, just a little more dickishness.
He just slams him on, that
the Uranagi.
The Uranagi on the steps, which is what took Shinsuke out a couple months ago, and then it's elementary from that point. You toss Shinsuke back in, prop him up on that top rope, a muscle buster. And Samoa Joe is a 2-time NXT champion. And
history made in a way that is a circular pattern. Because if you think about the Revival were the first ever 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions.
True.
They lost tonight. The same night Samoa Joe becomes the first ever 2-time NXT champion.
Time for a new 2-time champion to be on the roster. All right, I see. I just realized we're both wearing who lost their championships.
It's all right.
They
might have lost, but they're still my boys.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
hashtag my boys.
It was now as good of a show it was, as great the matches were. The endings could have been better.
Yeah,
I would say
I felt some of them felt a little main rostery.
I would say my favorite finishes were the 2 out of 3 falls and the women's championship. I think those were my two favorites.
Hands down, the 2 out of 3 falls was the best.
Absolute best match, absolute best finish. Couldn't have made the match any better.
Yeah.
But I appreciated the fact that Mickey tried to struggle out of the Asuka lock before finally tapping out. I guess the championship match between Joe and Shinsuke wasn't a bad finish. Just because Joe was on such a run at this point, he had hit that giant kick to the nuts, the Uranagi on the steps, and then the muscle buster.
That one I didn't have a problem with the finish so much as I did with the result.
Right.
Because I was just like, oh wow, Joe's gonna lose or Shinsuke's gonna lose on his first defense.
Yeah, and I understand it because I feel like with the fact that Joe had the dislocated jaw when he lost the championship, I feel like he was supposed to win that one, and we were supposed to wait a little bit longer for Shinsuke, but because they kind of realized that there was an injury, they played it safe. So I'm not too upset with it. I think, if there's someone that does deserve to be a 2-time champion, I would give it to Samoa Joe, because he's busted his ass since he showed up in NXT.
Yeah.
So yeah, I probably would have preferred to have Shinsuke.
Next in line is Dan Matha.
Fuck that. No.
Double champion. He's going to be tag team champion and regular champion.
Regardless of the finishes, NXT knocking it out of the park again.
Yeah, I give this a solid B+.
Hell yeah.
Not the best takeover, but it's up there among the best takeovers.
It's hard to beat some of the best takeovers.
Yeah, I mean, there's some that are never going to get knocked out of the top places. I don't think.
Takeover is one of those things that you can't hit a grand slam every single time, but you can bet your ass you're hitting a home run every time.
Yeah, I mean, like Takeover Brooklyn, the first one, and Takeover Respect, and I even have a soft place in my heart for Fatal 4-Way.
Oh yeah. There's some that are just so good they can't be topped.
And so it's going to be pretty difficult to top any of those ones.
Yeah.
But they don't need to.
No.
They keep things fresh. It was rad. I can't say enough good things about NXT. I think the weekly show should go to 2 hours. Pretty please.
I mean, this takeover was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, so. I mean the takeovers are getting extended, so your show should get extended. Because mainly the biggest thing is that you guys have so much talent on the roster, and I feel like a lot of the times, some people get swept under the rug because there's not enough time to showcase everyone.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that happens on the main rosters, but with as good as NXT is at showcasing everyone in 1 hour, as many people as they get across in 1 hour, if you had an hour and a half or 2 hours a week, even if it wasn't a 1 2 hour block, but what if there was like NXT Wednesday and NXT on Friday? If they had 2 shows?
Yeah. No, I think that'd be great. I think what I appreciate about the short hours of NXT is that where I feel like I've run a marathon when I go through Monday Night Raw, I am constantly excited for NXT to be on. There are nights when I'm like, oh man, Monday Night Raw is tonight. Am I going to hate it?
Yeah.
NXT, very rarely am I like, oh man, that was NXT. It's 9 times out of 10, I am so excited and just absolutely entertained with NXT.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that we aren't oversaturated with it is, chill out, Daniel, is what really helps it.
He's mad because we're not talking up SmackDown.
Hey,
SmackDown's good.
Daniel, come back. We like SmackDown. We're not running SmackDown down. We're talking about the fact that Raw is 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, Raw. It's the same thing with me. Raw's on, and by the end of it, I'm like, thank God it's over. When NXT's on and it ends, I'm like, man, I wish it wasn't over.
Yeah. So it's
because there's guys like, I think Andrade Cien Almas is one of the biggest victims of the 1 hour show, because he's a guy who's like, he's there, but it was like, okay, we haven't done anything with him, so let's give him this thing real quick. That doesn't really make any sense. Like, let's put him with Cedric Alexander and have him turn on him real fast. Just to give him something, to stand out. You have him and, like, No Way Jose, I think, could be, like, a great guy who could be pushed if they have that extra time. And then a lot of the other guys who you see are just, like, really, like, random one-off moments. Oney Lorcan, after his appearance on SmackDown, I'd like to see him be something on NXT, because that's where he's from. They even gave him a little NXT nameplate when he was on SmackDown.
He's gonna be the male version of Billy Kay. He's gonna be like, man, I was on SmackDown. I'm like top shit here on NXT.
Absolutely, and so be it. Let's do it. I mean, we had like, we've had like one singles match from Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we'd like need Nikki Cross and Daria, who's only made that one appearance in the 6-woman tag match. Let's see some more of her.
Yeah, I definitely think if you're gonna do more NXT, do a second show.
Yeah.
Don't do 2 hours straight of NXT. Make it so you have a few things that happen and you wait until next Wednesday for those things, but then on Friday you get a whole new grouping of things and maybe like one reference to what happened on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I feel
Don't recap everything.
It would also be beneficial for like newer people, not like newer to NXT, like to wrestling, but like a group like Sanity. Yeah. Is like, okay, they're cool, but we're not learning anything about them at this point. Because they're very like, okay, here they are, they're debuting, they're going to be in a match. Okay, now they've had a match, now they've had a couple matches, but we still like, there's been no character build about them yet.
I think that's specifically because of their debut in the Dusty Classic, though.
Yeah. I
don't think that has to do with the time that NXT has. I just think here's a brand new team. Here's we're getting little subtle hints about them. The fact that they're fucking insane, and that they are. It's that pack mentality with them.
And it's not saying it's the reason that we haven't learned isn't the time. But if we had the extra time, they could be developed so much more by now.
Fair. I don't know. I like how the people that do get developed on NXT, I feel like they're making the best of their time.
Yeah.
And I think with the lack of time in NXT, it makes those people work harder.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that excuse of, well, there's 3 hours or 2 hours of all this other stuff that of course people aren't gonna remember my stuff. It's so much more difficult. With that 1 hour, you're given that one chance. And if you don't make that impact, then you get sent back and then you have to try it all over again.
Yeah. And then a lot of the other two is like the other guys I want to see.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
there are guys you don't see very often that I think deserve a little more limelight. Riddick Moss, Hugo Knox, Patrick Clark. These guys need to get a little bit more. You know, why the fuck bring Elias Sampson back?
We need an entire half hour of just Ty Dillinger. Now that he's...
Fuck it. Let's do it. I am down for the Perfect 10 Power Hour.
Yeah, look, that's if you can last with the Perfect 10 for like a 30-minute Iron Man match or some shit like that every single week.
That was what it is. On the Fridays they open up with the Ty Dillinger Perfect 10-minute challenge.
There you go.
You have 10 minutes to beat Ty Dillinger.
Yeah, he's the fucking measuring stick in NXT.
And if you don't pin him within 10 minutes, you lose the match.
But with that random tangent out of the way,
Yeah.
NXT killing
Good job,
it.
guys.
Good luck, Survivor Series. Don't fucking main event your show with Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg.
Too late.
I will be so fucking... Ooh, I'll be furious. But for now...
Get ready for a furious review.
Oh, I will not be happy the entire review if that is the main event.
If you want, you can sit it out. I can review.
I'll just sit over here and I'll just yell. Just yell obscenities as you run through Survivor Series. But for now, thanks for watching, guys.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Click all the links down in the description to send to all of our social medias.
We got a lot of social medias.
You can also check out that SoundCloud link for our regular reviews in podcast form, that being Indie News, Raw Reviews, SmackDown Rundown, and the Midweek Wrap-Up.
Yeah.
But since you're watching this video, obviously, you know that we have specific videos that are only videos. We got predictions. We've got the pay-per-view reviews.
And the top 5.
We got top 5s.
Which I did last week.
Yeah. We got extra stuff that's only in video form. We've also got more stuff that's only in video form. That's over on Reasonable Wrestling Fans.
It's reasonable with a W.
Like wrestling. Where you get all of our YouTubier stuff like unboxing videos, reaction videos, ranting videos, punishment videos, which once we find out who takes it at Survivor Series, one of us is going to be getting chopped by some professional wrestlers. So
so tune into that one because you never know. It might be somebody you know.
Yeah. So look forward to that.
Doubt it.
Hey,
you never know.
You never know.
Could be somebody super famous.
But thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you probably tomorrow for Survivor Series. We did that.
It's Mojo 1.